So here is what we're talking about this week: four lies that keep us from asking, and what those lies are costing us. What are they costing us with our life? What are they costing us with our business? What are they costing us in general, even with our relationship with God? And I posted this question earlier this week. What's your biggest challenge with asking for help? And the responses, I got a lot of different responses, and I appreciate those of you who answered the question. Some people were saying, I don't want to bother anyone. Some of you said, I don't want to be a burden to anyone. Some of you even said, I should be able to figure this out myself. I should already know the answer to this. And so the answers that you gave, the responses that you gave were very revealing. And so, one of the lies that we want to address today is simply this one: the lie that says, I should be able to do this myself. When we think about asking, if you've ever had a negative reaction, a negative thought, a negative feeling to the whole process of you asking someone for help, I want you to put a me in the comments. I want to make sure I'm not the only one that struggles with thinking about asking others and reaching out to ask for help. If you've ever had that challenge with asking someone for help, I want you to put the word me in the comments. I want to make sure that I'm not the only one by myself today that's ever had this struggle of, hey, I got to ask someone to help me with something. All right, I see you, Cheryl. Awesome. Okay, so we're on level playing ground. I'm not the only one. And I want to talk about this because, well, I'll jump ahead of myself and I'll get it back. If you aren't able to ask for help, there is a level of growth that you're missing out on. In fact, the Bible just says it in James: you have not because you ask not. And so, if you are unable, unwilling, hesitant, holding back on asking for help, it is going to cost you in terms of your growth, your development. If you are working on any project that means anything to you, if you are building a ministry, if you are building a business, if you are building and growing just a family, and you are unable to ask for help, it is going to stop you from having all that you need to do the things that you're called to do. And I want to talk about that because I think for so many of us, maybe there is ingrained in us, there is teaching that we have accumulated over the years. Maybe there are life experiences that have been negative that have told us that asking for help is something you don't do. And because we don't know how to, because we avoid doing it, it is holding a lot of us back. In fact, the people who get the furthest in life are people who have mastered this skill of asking. And so I want to help you to do the same today and over the next 3 days after today, so all the way till Friday. We want to talk about four lies that stop you from asking for help and what's this costing you. What it's costing you. Four lies that stop you from asking and what it's costing you. And because I believe that any one of these lessons that I teach are grounded in biblical principles, I want to give you a passage of scripture, and it is found in Luke chapter 11, verse 5 to 10. So, Luke chapter 11, verse 5 to 10, that's what we're going to be talking about all week long. Luke 11, 5 to 10. We might go a few verses higher, we might go a few verses below, but that's what we're going to be talking about this week. And I want to again start with line number one: I should be able to do this myself. So here is the passage for today. Here's all we're going to look at today. It's verse 5 and verse 6. It says, suppose one of you has a friend, and he goes to that friend at midnight and says, friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread because a friend of mine on a journey has come to me, and I have nothing to set before him. All right, so Jesus tells this parable. Here's a setup. A guy is at home. He has his own setup, and he has a friend arriving at the time that you don't really expect friends to arrive. Like, who are you? Like, which friend comes to you and just shows up at midnight? I mean, we want you to show up when it's bright, when there's light outside. But this friend shows up at midnight And the friend doesn't just show up at midnight. The friend shows up and the friend is hungry. This friend has a family. This friend has a need. And because of that, the person who is receiving them now has need to get some help. And so I want to just talk about the first point I want to make today, talking about why we need to understand how to ask for help is this. First point is life will expose your limits. Life will expose your limits. Now, Jesus tells the story. This man is settled in for the night. Now, he has taken care of his responsibilities. He has taken care of his family. But now someone else comes to his home. And back then, you got to be a good host. You have to receive someone. And you can't just receive them. You got to make sure that they are well taken care of. But after he has taken care of his family, his guests are hungry and his pantry is empty. Now, if his friend had come any earlier, he might have had some food for him, or he would have been able to go to the store to buy something to be able to take care of this friend. But this friend comes at a time when not even his money can help him because the stores are closed. And so here it is. You're tired. Your friend is tired. This friend is hungry. And this man says, I have nothing to set before him. Now, I understand that for a lot of us, this man has to go now asking for help. And the reason he has to ask for help is because of this line, I have nothing to set before him. Notice, Jesus does not say this man should have been better prepared. You should have had some extra food in your pantry. He does not say you should have bought more bread. You should have anticipated visitors. There's no criticism of this man who is now needing to go look for help. There's no judgment in the story for this man, because here is something that we want to expose, and Jesus exposes about life. Life has a way of knocking on your door at midnight. Life has a way of knocking on your door at midnight. No matter how responsible you are, no matter how organized you are and how prepared you are and how much careful planning you do, there'll be moments of life that expose your limits. It might be a diagnosis. It might be a child that you have that's in crisis. It might be something that's going on in a relationship. It might be a business problem you've never encountered. It might be some financial setback you're going through. Yes, we say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We talk about the value of preparation. But can we just be honest that life will knock at what seems like your midnight hour, and you can never be prepared for everything that life brings your way? You just can't. No matter how well you plan, how much you've organized your life, how well you've scheduled out your things, you will always encounter things where you realize, I didn't prepare for this. I did not see this coming. I didn't know this was going to happen to me. There's something that happens in the job market and your job changes. You weren't prepared for that. There's something that happens in the financial market and things happen with business. You weren't prepared for that. There's the rise of new technology and AI and the algorithm shifts. You weren't prepared for that. There's something that happens. You were planning something and there are setbacks. You weren't prepared for that. And every one of us is going to have a knock at midnight situation in our life. There is just going to be a knock at midnight that happens when you've done everything, you've set your family up, you've put them to bed, you have done everything. And here's what's so crazy about this story, and I want you to hear this. The man has to go knocking because stores are closed. And I know a lot of us, we think, if I have enough resources, money, right, I can prepare for every eventuality. But there's some things in life that even your money is not enough to buffer you against all of the limitations that you have. And actually, this might sound like a negative, right? That life will expose your limits. But I believe it's by God's design. Maybe God allows those knocks at midnight. Maybe God allows us to reach situations bigger than us because God wants to break our hyper independence, right? He wants to break this illusion we have of self-sufficiency. He wants us to break out of this mindset that I can do it all by myself. I don't need anyone else. And I want to get to a point in life where I won't need anyone. I think God allows knocks at midnight, things that we don't prepare for, things that we don't see coming, so that we understand, yeah, I'm not an island all by myself. I'm not self-sufficient. I can't just live on hyper independence. And so the first point I want you to see as we talk about the first lie that we talk about today on I should be able to do it myself is that life will expose your limits. You are limited. You will get a knock at midnight. Life will have some situation that comes your way that you were not prepared for, that you could not think about, you could not envision happening, and you will have to figure out how to adjust. Now, point number 2 is really connected to point number 1 is this. Pride will tell you to hide your limits. Pride will tell you to hide your limits. Here's the thing. The Bible says this man is at home. He's getting ready he's probably in bed. It's midnight. He gets a knock at his door, and it's another friend who's been on a long journey. And your home is a stopover. And the man comes in and he looks at his cupboards, his pantry, and he says, I have nothing. Now, you have 2 choices in the moment when life exposes your limitations. And that first choice is to hunker down and try to mask your nothingness and just say, okay, I'll just hide it, right? And that's where some of us are. Our pride, some of us might call it ego, we might call it a lot of different things, is we pretend that I can do it. We pretend I can figure it out. We pretend that we got it all together. We just pretend. And that's what pride does. Pride whispers in your ear, you should be able to handle this. Pride whispers in your ear, look at how old you are. You should be able to figure this thing out by now. Pride whispers in your ear, look how long you've been married. You should be able to figure out and manage this conflict and be over this challenge. Pride says to you that okay, white knuckle this. If you work hard enough, you'll be able to get out of this. Pride whispers to you that you don't need anybody else. That's what pride is telling you, and pride tells me in our moments when life knocks at us at midnight and we don't have anything. That's what pride is saying to you. Don't admit to anyone that you don't have it all together. Don't admit to anyone that you need some prayer. Don't admit to anyone that you need some counsel. Don't admit to anyone that you don't really know what you're doing, because they'll think less of you. If I go next door and I knock at my neighbor's door and I ask my neighbor for some bread to help this friend who has come from this long journey, what would Miss Neighbor think about me? Will they think that I'm poor? Will they think I'm broke? Will they think I don't have enough money? Will they think I've hit on hard times? Will they think that life is... And that's what we sit and we do in our head. We sit by ourselves and we try to say to ourselves the conversation that other people will have about us if we ask for help. And in our minds, we think they will think less of me if I simply ask, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, I don't really know where I'm going. I've been driving around this same block in this same neighborhood. I've been going in circles for a long time. And if I stop and I ask someone for help, they'll think, wait, you don't know how to read directions. You're directionally challenged. You don't know how to read a map, something. And we, in our minds, our pride stops us from admitting that we don't have anything. Notice the Bible says this man gets a knock at midnight and he has to go to his neighbor and say, hey, I have nothing. And it's simply that confession. I don't have anything. That is hard for a lot of us. Some of you in the answers, you said maybe it's birth order. I was dependent upon. So I had to be the one that would help figure things out for others. Maybe it's because you've been hurt before and you don't want to tell someone because they might take advantage of your admission that you don't have anything. And over, we have different reasons why pride shows up, and it's a struggle for us asking for help. And so I just want to just say to someone that you just have to admit that life will expose your limits. And number two, that pride will tell you to hide those limits. That lie shows up in business. Some of us say, I'm gonna figure everything out by myself. I won't ask someone else who is a little bit ahead of me for help. I won't ask for feedback. I don't need a coach. I can do this all by myself. And before long, here is what that does for us. If you're in business, you become the bottleneck. You become, because it's going to cost you. You become the thing that's stopping your own growth in your life, in your goals, in your business, in your dreams. Your pride is actually costing you your growth and your development. And so the first point is that it is life will expose your limits. Number two, pride will tell you to hide those limits. And some of us, we are paying a huge price while protecting our pride. You're not asking for help and you're hungry, right? You're not asking for help and your relationship is struggling. You're not asking for help and you are burning yourself out doing too much. You're not asking for help and you're struggling because you can't hold your own self accountable. You're not asking for help and your health is deteriorating. You're not asking for help and you're hitting an upper limit on a ceiling on the job and you don't know why. Is there anybody? I just want somebody just to put yes in the comments. If you can admit that at times pride has stopped you from asking for help when you realize there's a limit to what you can do. You hit your limit. You don't know what to do, but there is pride that is showing up in your life and telling you, do not ask anyone for help. Here's something, right? Just put a yes in the comments. I want to make sure that I'm not the only one. I'm asking you, if I'm not the only one, that you put a yes in the comments. And I see a couple coming in. What's up, Sean? Hey, Cheryl. Good. So at least a couple of us are admitting, yes, pride at times has left me hungry, and pride at times has left me without the knowledge. Pride at times has left me stuck, right? And I'm struggling, but I do not want to admit, hey, I got a knock at midnight and I have nothing. Now, here is something that I want you to see. If this man had refused to ask for help when he hit his limit because of pride, not only would he have suffered, his friend would have suffered as well. The family that showed up would have gone hungry. He would have affected someone else. And can I just make it really plain for someone this morning? You not asking for help is not just affecting you, it's affecting others who are depending on you. Your independence is impacting someone else. There are other people who are waiting on you, but because you are afraid of asking for help, they aren't receiving from you what they should. There is somebody who needs the advice and the knowledge and the expertise that you've been given, and you have a book that you're supposed to write, but because you don't want to ask someone, hey, can you help me get this finished? They aren't able to get that book from you because you're not willing to ask for help. You've hit your limit and your pride is telling you, I should be able to figure this out. And I don't want to ask because someone's going to think I'm stupid and someone's going to think I whatever, and they're going to talk about me. And you've painted all these pictures in your mind. And here's what's happening. On the other side of that, there's someone who is needing what you have and needing help from you. And because you don't ask, they can't receive from you. I hope that's clear to someone, right? And so the first point I want to make today, again, we're talking And I'll be back again tomorrow talking about lie number 2. But lie number 1 is I should be able to do this myself. And so we looked at the first point is life will expose your limits. You will get a knock at midnight. I don't care if you have money, you will get a knock at midnight. I don't care if you have a family, you will get a knock at midnight that you were not prepared for. Secondly, pride will tell you to hide your limits. Pride will tell you you have nothing but pretend you have something. But here's my favorite part of the story. This man does not pretend, tells us his humility gives him permission to ask. The man doesn't pretend. Bible says his friend knocks on his door at midnight, and his humility tells him, go next door and ask. You know, he doesn't make an excuse. He simply tells the man the truth. He doesn't try to tell a story. You know, it's interesting. The people who tell the longest stories are people who try to hide something. So, did you do your homework? No, blah, blah, blah. Your dog ate my this and the da, 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 da. No, just tell the truth. Listen, I overslept. I didn't get it done. I didn't understand, right? Like the man says, I have nothing. He just tells the truth. Somebody came at midnight and I have nothing. He doesn't go into, well, my kids ate a little bit much today and I was planning to go shop. No, he just says, I have nothing. And sometimes humility is making a simple ask. That might be the most powerful sentence in this entire parable. I have nothing. Because everything changes after we make that confession. You know what? I can't do this. I was talking to my friend, a friend of mine who's in business, and he said he was trying to figure out something for weeks, working on a project in his business. He was working on this project, and it was taking him so long. It was taking up hours. It was taking up bandwidth. And you know how it is when you're working on one project, you really have another project coming behind that one, but you need to get this one cleared off of your schedule in order to work on that. So not only is he not finishing this one, there's a backlog of things and it's causing stress and he's working on it and he is trying to figure this out. And he had to actually come to a point where he says, you know what, I can't do this. Let me reach out and ask for help. Let me just say, you know what? I can't do this. I need help. And just simply getting that confession that says, I don't have it. I don't have it. You know what? I don't have the knowledge about all of this social media stuff. I don't have it. I need help. You know what? I don't know how to get my resume together. I need help. You know what? I'm trying to get back into school and to finish my degree. And I've been out of school for so long. I don't even know how to go about that. I need help. You know what? We're struggling right now, understanding how to balance our budget. We need help. That statement of humility that says, I have nothing, is where a miracle begins, right? It's you admitting to someone else, I need help. Now, sometimes help looks in a few different ways, right? So it's like, can you assist me with this, right? So help can look like a few different ways. And we're going to talk about this more and break it down later on in the week. So help can look like, can you assist me with something? Help can look like wisdom. What do you think? I need your brain. I need your thoughts on this. I need your insight on this. Help might look like I'm asking for an opportunity. Can you, I'm looking for an open door. Can you show me how to get access to a job? Can you show me how to get access to someone that can lead me? That like help can look like looking for an opportunity. Help can look like partnership. I can't do this by myself. Can you partner with me? Can we collaborate on this together? And help can even look like exchanging a value. I have something valuable. Would you like to exchange something you have that's valuable for the something I have that's valuable? There are a few different ways you can ask for help. We're going to talk about that some more, because I think we sometimes mistake the word help, asking for begging. And asking and begging are not the same thing. Asking is a natural thing that we do. You see, if you do not learn to ask for help, you are going to stay stuck longer than you should. You are going to stay down more than you need to. you're going to stay without more than you have to. You are going to miss out on opportunities that should be yours because you have not learned the skill of asking. See, self-sufficiency says to us, you should be able to do this. Self-sufficiency lies to us and says the reason that you are needing to ask for help is because you didn't do something you should have done. But I just want to say to someone right now that you need to take away that false guilt that asking for help means that you didn't do something you should have done. No, it just means you're a human being and you are limited. You don't have everything. You won't know everything. You can't do it all. You're not connected to everyone. You are not independent. You are interdependent. You need other people. You need to be connected with other people. You need to ask other people because there's something they have that you need, and there's something you have that they need. We're a part of a human system. Asking isn't proof that you failed. It's proof that you're a human being and you've reached the limit of what you can do all by yourself. And that's where growth begins. I'm just going to tell you, growth for you in many areas of your life comes from simply saying, I have nothing. I need help. I don't have it all together. And maybe for someone, as you're listening to me today, and you know my angle, I like to help you talk about building a business, getting started with that thing that God has put on your heart. Maybe the reason why you're stuck isn't because something's wrong with you. It's not because you didn't prepare enough. It's simply your knock at midnight moment where you have to just point the searchlight in and say, you know what? I don't have anything in this area. I need help. I need to go figure out who I can ask for help in this area. Now, here's what's so interesting. Jesus is telling this parable, and if you read above, it's really a part of a teaching on prayer. So I don't want to take this out of its context because I think it's even more powerful when we put it in its context. Jesus is saying that you knocking on your neighbor's door is preparation for knocking on God's door. And can we be honest that sometimes our hyper independence shows up in our human relationships? So I won't ask my friend, are they hiring at your job? I won't ask, hey, can you help me prepare this? I won't ask for help. But my hyper independence shows up in my relationship with God, where I don't want to knock on God's door because I think to myself, I should have had that figured out. I should have overcome that challenge. I should have started earlier so I wouldn't need God to help bail me out of the thing that I'm working on. I should have had my finances together so I wouldn't need to ask God to bless them. I should have been over this struggle in my life so I wouldn't need to ask God. But here's what Jesus is saying, that you will never come to the point in your life that you are totally dependent of God. In fact, your greatest spiritual discipline, prayer, is an admission that you have nothing. It is you saying, God, I don't have it together. God, I need your help. Prayer is the exact opposite of self-sufficiency. Prayer is my admission that when life knocked at my door and I was sick, I couldn't heal myself. Prayer is the admission that when life knocked at my door and my finances weren't together, that I prayed and I said, God, I need your help. Prayer is me saying as a parent, God, life knocked at my door and something happened with my child that I could not figure out, and I need your help. And I just want to say to someone today that asking is the key to your growth, the key to unlocking what can be for you your next level of growth. It's you saying, I have nothing. Maybe you thought the way for you to grow is to figure it out all out on your own. And I'm just here to say to you that the key to your growth is to finally admit, I have nothing. God, I need help. Friend, I need help. Coach, I need help. Um, Person I want to collab with, I need help. Person I want to sell to, I need help. I need help because life reminds me that I have limits. So I want to give you a few things today, right? Here's the first thing I want to give you. I want to just ask you as a reflection, what is an area of your life that you've been pretending you had enough when in reality, God may be inviting you to admit in that area, I need help. What's an area? I don't know what your area might be. Maybe it's you're working on something. Yeah, I love it. I need help. The key to my growth. Maybe you're working on something. And here is what I'm realizing. I'm working on something now that is stretching me. It is stretching me where I need to ask for help, but I need to ask people for help that I've never asked before. And that is the struggle. And maybe you are working on something that requires you to ask people you know for help. And that's uncomfortable for some of us. And maybe it's requiring you to ask people you do not know for help, right? And God is inviting you to admit in that area, I need help. And in what's an area that you need to ask God more? What are some areas you need to bring to God in prayer more as an admission? God, I need your help. I need your help. Now, before I get off of here, and I've been on here longer than I thought I was going to be because of my technical difficulties, I'm going to ask you for help, and I'm going to do that each day. For some of you, you may know already that I'm hosting a conference coming up in September 25 to 27 in the Tampa Bay area. It's called the Monetize Your Ministry Conference, and the theme is You've Got Oil, right? It's a conference helping people of faith learn how to start and grow businesses using biblical principles like the one we just talked about, how to ask for help. And I want to ask you for help because I want to be vulnerable. I want to ask you that, first of all, that you would go to the website, mymconference.com. So it's mymconference.com. But so, one, here is my ask for today. If you know someone who could benefit from this conference, and in fact, I'm going to put the conference graphic up. If you know someone who can benefit from this conference, would you mind sharing it with them? Sharing the link, mymconference.com, with them, sharing the graphic. I'm going to post it on my social media, sharing it with them and inviting them, because maybe I'm asking you for help, but maybe you are the conduit for someone else who needs what this conference has to offer. So here's my ask. Would you invite them to it and let them know that this is a place for them to learn, to grow, to network, and to take what they're building to the next level? I'm going to show you the speakers one more time. We have speakers there like Pierre Quinn, Marcus Rosier, Celeste Roberts, Mignon Francois, Dr. Myron Edmonds, and my two daughters, Athena Shack. Those speakers are coming to share from a faith-based perspective how to start and to grow businesses. I want you to be there, but I want you to also invite someone. So that's my ask today. I need your help to help get the word out. So would you share? In fact, I'm going to make a post right after this. You're going to see it on my Facebook if you're connected with me on Facebook. If not, just even find my Facebook page. Would you share it? That's my ask for you today. That is a way for you to help me, but also help someone else. All right, listen, I'm going to wrap up right now. Lesson number 1 is life reminds us that you're limited. Pride is going to tell us to not ask for help, but humility says, I'm going to admit I have nothing. And in admitting I have nothing, it opens me up to a new level of growth. The key to my growth isn't hyper independence. The key to my growth is interdependence. To say I'm dependent, not just on God, because yes, we understand and we establish that, but I am dependent on other people to help me to get where I'm going. All right, that's day number 1. Tomorrow we're going to come back. We're going to talk about lie number 2. What's lie number 2? Come on, remember. Lie number 2, I think, has to do with me saying, what if people say no, right? Lie number 2 is the lie, what if I face rejection? We're going to talk about it tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to make sure my mic works. I'm going to ask you one more time to share the post that I'm going to make right after this, letting people know about the conference, that they need to be there. So would you just go ahead and hit share from my page to your Facebook page, copy the link, share it with someone, copy the just website, nymconference.com, share it with someone. And I will see you tomorrow for day number 2, lies that keep us from asking for help number 2. All right, y'all take care.